Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of ZAZ Zero Agenda Zone. I have a good friend of mine, Franklin, and like always, I will start off with a good connect. He's a medical doctor. I'm going to give a spoiler alert. We connected years ago, and been remaining friends ever since.
That's right.
I won't let him get into what he does, and that actually kind of bonded our friendship too as well. But anyway, hey Franklin, hey, appreciate you coming to visit.
I'm glad to be here.
So Franklin.
Yeah.
Where you live, what's going on, who you are, what's up.
Yeah. I live in Middle Tennessee up on what we call the Plateau,
One of the Villes.
one of the villes near Crossville.
There you go.
If you're from there, you would say Crossville,
Crossville.
just like Knoxville, Nashville. But yeah. But it's a nice spot. I grew up in Tennessee. I was born here in Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, El Paso.
Oh, that's right. You did
Yeah,
tell me that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But pretty much grew up in Tennessee.
How many years you stayed in Texas?
I think my folks told me I was maybe 2.5,
Okay,
3
all right.
when we moved away. Went to Georgia for a little bit near Savannah, Hilton Head area.
Okay. All right.
And then up to Greenville, where I grew up.
All right.
College in Chattanooga,
Okay.
UT Chattanooga. I did chemistry there. I was a BS in chemistry.
All right.
Then went off to med school, and I did an anesthesiology residency after med school,
All right.
and that was in Omaha, Nebraska. And then I left the Midwest to do travel anesthesia. Started in locum tenens in January 2008, and never quit.
When you say local, what does that mean?
It's a Latin term that just means a brief period, a non-permanent contract. You might call me PRN. So
Okay,
I
gotcha.
work when necessary and when desired.
Did you like that?
I haven't quit. I haven't been permanently employed since December of 2007.
Oh my God. It's like the traveling nurse, but you was doing that way back
Exactly.
before it's
So
popular.
exactly. So it's not just nurses who can travel and do work. And I've learned the doctors can too. And while I loved the job, actually in Omaha, it was a great job, good friends, and I trained there, so I was well acclimated to everything that we did there. And we
Okay.
did many things. I mean, the only anesthetic I think I never did or taught, because I then stayed on staff and I think I made assistant professor before I resigned. The only anesthesia I never gave was for lung transplant, and I think that was it. I've done pretty much everything else. Anesthesia on 600-gram neonates, premature kids, elderly people, heart transplant, liver transplant, kidney transplant, all the trauma, knife and gun clubs on Friday nights, Omaha, all that stuff. And
Nice knife and gun fight.
that's what we call it, knife and gun club. It was always met Friday nights and Saturdays.
Full moon.
It always seemed like it made a difference. It really did. I'm just being honest. That's in medicine.
I worked the jail systems for a while, man. It seemed like full moons always brought out the crazy.
It seems like there's something to it.
I think it's maybe the gravitational pull
Could be.
on your body.
I chose to later, and this was 2017, 18, 19, was kind of burning out. I was a director of a department there near where I live. And I was talking to my good friend, Dr. John Kelly.
Right. Really good dude.
Yeah, the founding president of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. We were very good friends and classmates in medical school. And I was just talking to him about how I'd really like to do some work in lifestyle medicine. And he said, well, you can do it. I wrote the review course. You can get board certified if you want. I'll help you. I was like, you can't turn down an offer like that. So I got the book from him, and one of the requirements was to do some hands-on in-person work and training in lifestyle medicine. So he was doing some of those trainings. Hi, Tony. I'm Franklin.
Yeah, I do.
That's the moment we met.
Yeah, because I had the I walked in like I was supposed to because I didn't have the credentials. So everyone had credentials. I was like, she's like, do you want us to get this and get that? I was like, nah, we good. I just walk in like I'm supposed to be here.
Yes.
So I just walked in and kind of relaxed, and people like, hey, can I just telling me stuff. I'm asking them questions, and they're like, oh, can we scan your badge? I was like,
I don't have it with me.
I don't have it with me, so it's okay.
Thanks for the offer.
Yeah, they scan hers. So
yeah, so that was the day we met.
I I jumped into that lifestyle medicine for a while. How do you know a person is vegan? This person told me this joke.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I did vegan for a while.
How do we know?
How do you know a person is vegan?
I'm not sure. I'd usually just ask them.
Because they tell you. So listen, all vegan people will let you know, hey, by the way, I'm vegan.
That actually is a pretty good rule of thumb.
It is.
You know because they say so.
Oh, they let you know.
Hmm.
We let you know, but I'm no longer vegan. I eat everything now. Might kill one of these snakes in Texas or something. One of these armadillos. They cook them here.
You'll help us out. Just reduce the population.
I caught one of them in my trap, man. He was digging up my garden. Yeah. I set him free. He was fat too.
And because you grow good food here.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it was funny because one of the workers was like, "Man, you gonna eat him?" No, I'm not gonna eat it. How do you prepare an armadillo? But they eat them, man.
In Texas, it's just roasted, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Coals, open fire.
Seemed like a lot of work.
I would think so.
I mean, so yeah, I did a journey down to you got to throw your plug out because he has
the Doctor's Inn.
The Doctor's Inn in Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah.
And you go there and you do some pre-testing to kind of give a baseline where you at. Obviously, you have discussions before then.
Mm-hmm.
Do a little quick survey and an interview, do some blood work.
Mm-hmm.
He knows everyone in Tennessee, so you kind of go there and we cut the line and do some lab work.
We kind of did.
Yeah.
Made it easy.
Like 10 days, right?
Yes, we did a 10-day program for you. Back then we'd called it an immersion program.
Okay.
Yeah, I called and because she knew what John and I did,
right,
and she knew that most of the programs were full, we took overflow at the Doctor's Inn instead of some of the programs we were doing, say in Michigan.
Right.
I'd like me and Tony to come and go through an immersion. I want to make sure he's going in the right direction. Could you do a program? Yeah, absolutely. Come on. That was when I called you beforehand.
Right.
Arranged, okay, that we could do these labs. We could not do these labs, but if we do these labs, we can know these things. And we walked through all of that. And I prescribed you the glucose monitor.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That was before it was super popular then.
Right. You were probably I think you were the first one who came through our program with a transcutaneous glucose monitor.
Yeah, actually. I think so. I think you say, hey, we have advertisements for them.
Years later, John and I presented your data at the national conference.
Right. And by the way, I was like Superman. So I just have to let you know that. I'm like,
You had really good results, good numbers, and it was illustrative because no one else really was doing it.
Right.
And they certainly weren't collecting much data.
Yeah.
And showing the graph. The other thing you did that a lot of people don't is the water fast at the beginning, and that really jump-started
that was crazy. I think I went almost 3 days.
I think you went close to 72 hours.
Yeah.
And then
we felt like a week.
And you did another day or two before you left because we had 10 days.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we looked at your lab work after 10 days, which no one, certainly back then, maybe a few might do it now, but back then nobody would bother to look at lab results that close together in time that you did these drastic changes.
Like a kickstart.
It was very much a kickstart, a boot camp almost that would alter you quickly in a brief period of time. And we do that because you find that the motivation that people gain when they see themselves progressing is kind of a snowball, and they can really take that and maximize it for themselves as they continue.
Also, it's also the power of believing too. Even though it's some science behind it, or some science, it is science behind it.
Sure.
But also the mind, I think, plays a big factor of it too.
I think you're right.
The placebo effect, for example. So combine that with actual things. I watched this episode, Mike Tyson, up the power of believing.
Yes.
I remember he's talking about his first training.
Mm-hmm.
The dude used to sit at the table and call him a champ before he even won a championship. Oh, you champ, you the champ, you the champ, you this, you that, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually Mike Tyson said,
he had to decide if he's going to believe that or not.
No, he did. He's like, man, I can be a champ. Right. I am a champ. Yeah. And then he just went in the ring and just started knocking people out like he was a champ. 18, 19 years old. Because the guy had already told him.
And he believed it.
Yeah.
I think that's part of why I liked to use the transcutaneous monitors back then, because it gave people real-time information that they could believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Look, it's true. It's really working for me.
Right.
And that belief then amplified their ability to achieve more.
So we talked about this many years ago.
What's that?
So practice conventional medicine.
Yes.
You're not against any of that. You
No,
realize
I'm thankful it's there.
thankful it's there. Realize there's a purpose. But also you believe in combining it with holistic medicine as well.
Holistic, yes, in the sense that there's a lot more to health than correctly prescribing pharmaceutical agents. Yeah.
Okay.
That's such a small part of
Right.
getting better or staying well or
Yeah.
you know.
And, I guess we're in this day and age, you have to tread lightly too, because, obviously licensed through the state and there's federal regulations on, the way we do medicine and
Yes.
stuff like that. And I touched on to the duty of care, for example. I mean, you and I talked about that. With medicine, like I come in there and I have hypertension,
Yes.
borderline hypertension. Maybe I had hypertension the last few times I came to visit. As a medical doctor, and the way it is, license and duty of care, you almost have an obligation to treat me, right? You got to treat me with something. I mean, there's a pattern. I mean, 6 months ago, I came back and still have this thing to let me go home without giving me suggestions or your professional opinion about where I need to get.
Leaving it unaddressed.
Leaving it unaddressed is a liability on your behalf.
It is.
But that being said, obviously I have to know my patient's rights. You have to explain your patient's rights. I can say, no, I don't want to do that. I guess you're in this situation. I'm your patient. I say, you know what? Hey, doc, I understand. I've been seeing you for 6-8 months. I have it. How can I do that without you making me take a beta blocker or some kind of blood pressure medicine? Are your hands tied to say, hey, fatso, stop eating the fried chicken and get your ass
and take these 3 pills.
Take these 3 pills and you'll be okay.
And check with me in 4 weeks.
Check me in. You have to say, hey, here's these pills. How do you go about addressing it? How do you thread that needle because you have a conflict a little bit, right? From you believing that deal with the root cause of things.
Right.
And then just the way the system is, the man.
Yeah, so you bring up a number of really interesting elements that come into play in the patient-physician relationship.
Okay.
One is the responsibility, you use the word responsibility, that you, as a patient, the physician does or is held responsible for helping this person deal and manage with their disease process. You bring up the idea of the responsibility of the physician to the patient who brings these problems in with their visit, like diabetes or hypertension. Okay, so they make this diagnosis. What are they supposed to do? Well, the standards of care is a phrase that is used by his peers, by the law, is viewed as being responsible to execute the expected level of care. Otherwise, you're not fulfilling your duty to the patient. However, on top of that, in your description and in your scenario, actually more specifically, there is the element of autonomy. We talk about medical ethics. At least I was trained that you cannot force a medical intervention. This is a huge discussion since COVID. But when I trained, we were disallowed to force your treatment opinions upon a patient or a patient population against their wishes. It requires consent. You can't just roll in for surgery and not agree to be anesthetized. Right?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And so that applies to all aspects of medicine. You have to agree, you consent to take an antihypertensive pill or an injection of insulin.
Was it always the case?
I never asked that question. I guess because of my ethical Christian upbringing, I just assumed that the right way the world should work is that I cannot force my will upon you against your own wishes. And so that the autonomy and self-direction of
But
the
what
patient.
if you didn't know? Like what, because
so a lot of people, yes.
Some things apply. Like,
people don't
you tell
always
me to get a surgery. I mean, I would assume you're not going to cut me open without putting me to sleep.
Right. But not only that, you might assume that the doctor wouldn't recommend you have open heart surgery or stents placed or your gallbladder out. They wouldn't recommend that. You would assume they wouldn't recommend that if there was a better option. That is not always a correct assumption. So there are motivations, beliefs, and such on the part of the physician that
So some omission.
There's some omission there, right? The main one I see occur is that no treatment is an option, right? So I might say, well, we could treat your high blood pressure with metoprolol, a little bit of Lasix, and a calcium channel blocker. And the option also for treatment is no treatment. You may opt out, but most people view themselves as, well, I went to the doctor, he says I should do this, I'm going to do that. And they don't consider the fact, well, you might select maybe one or two of those pills, or none of them, or all of them. That's within your power to do. So long as the physician then documents that I discussed pros and cons, treatment options, and through consent, the patient has decided on this treatment plan. He is not going to be held to, oh, well, you didn't do the standard of care. You should have given him all 3 pills. Well, technically, yes, but you cannot do that against the patient's will. This is not a Nazi Germany concentration camp.
Right.
At least not currently, as far as I can tell.
Well, yeah.
We might be moving in that direction.
Give it some time. Give it
a
some
little
time, guys. Yeah.
But currently, the only thing, I don't think really you can be like fired. We actually talk about you fire your physician. You can fire a patient. It's difficult to do that unless you have a poor relationship. And so if you have a good physician-patient relationship, everything is negotiable. You say, I know my blood pressure is high. I really don't want the side effects or the risks of, say, a beta blocker, which tends to make you fatigued. There's sexual dysfunction often that people will describe. And they could say, could I try some other things that maybe aren't standard of care? A lot of the lifestyle things are as good or better, but they're not viewed as standard of care yet. And I'll see you again in 6 weeks, and let's see how I'm doing. That's perfectly feasible. No physicians I've ever worked with would turn down a patient's request to try temporarily something maybe that isn't exactly the standard of care, but does have some validity, and that the patient wishes to try it and see how it goes.
Well, that kind of brings me to another question.
What's that?
All right. So say a patient present this to you as a medical doctor, but also, are you able to suggest that? If a patient asks for alternatives, here sometimes when people can't control their medication, they will say, oh, well, the doctor said I need to lose some weight. It's good to say it then, as long as you under this medication. Lose some weight, the medication will be more effective. Is it an option where say, hey, it is an option not to take the medication? If you choose not to take the medication, what could possibly help your case if you lose weight or change your diet? That type thing. Is that like taboo for a doctor to say? Because, I could take it to the doctor and say, well, I don't need anything. All I need to do is, walk 5 minutes and put down the ho-hos. You know what I'm saying?
That's good advice.
Don't eat that honey bun. Moon pie.
I think it is dependent upon the mindset and personality of the physician. There are some amongst us who think very highly of themselves, of their opinion, their knowledge base. And to be honest, they have good reason. A lot of these guys are just genius.
Okay.
They're brilliant. They have years of success doing what it is you're coming to them to have done. And that builds up within their own perception of themselves an understandably high regard. And so for them to consider taking your advice in place of or above theirs, some personalities that grates upon them and maybe is insulting to their ego or pride. But I think those among us who retain a high regard for the physician-patient relationship as the primary, as one of the primary things to nurture and protect and service, that they're going to treat you, your wishes, and your opinions with due respect and say, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, I may feel that is suboptimal, but because again, I feel like patient autonomy is is a high priority, I'm not going to override your wishes. I might express, I said, look, I don't think that's maybe the very best, but I'm willing to walk this journey with you a bit down this fork in the road and see how this goes for you. If I'm wrong, I'll support you and I'll continue this. But if I'm right, would you be willing, and can we still, maintain this good professional relationship? And I'm not going to rub it in and say, see, I told you so. I'm so much smarter than you.
I would have.
I've seen mugs that say, don't confuse your Google search engine with my medical degree, on the desk of a physician.
I like that.
And it has a lot of merit, because we do have a lot of knowledge and experience that you cannot gain with using AI or Google search.
Right.
There's just real life experience that will never be duplicated by machine learning. And so those things are important to consider. But it's also important to consider that you're dealing with a person.
Yeah, I think so. And
it's a real life human. Treat them as,
I think all the medical care treatment, it's along with anything, the word insurance. I have an issue with this. Insurance companies, car insurance, medical insurance.
Yeah.
Chris Rock had a joke years ago. He said insurance should be called just in case. Just in case something happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it should be. Because that's what you're paying for.
Paying for a scenario that happens just in case.
Just in case. And, you got that fear factor. Well, just in case something happens,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to have someone that has bigger pockets to be able to pay for it than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the whole point, it goes back to what comes first, the chicken and egg. Because the prices are out of control. You go to other places, you get the same level of treatment.
Mm-hmm.
That's fractions of the cost.
Yeah.
Same pharmaceutical company sells that same drug to them too. Mm-hmm. But we are set up where you can just gouge the companies and just the patients, and you sell that one thing for $125 to another country, and you sell it to the same people for $125, but the hospital is allowed to charge you $900 for it. Because I know it's pretty interesting for everyone to actually talk about medicine and patients and everything else. Let's get on to the really hot topic, everything we should be talking about.
All right.
Back to your faith.
Sure.
And your belief.
Religion. Politics and sex later. We'll do religion.
We'll do that later on. We'll start talking about, the little dungeons and everything else. That'd be a once upon a time story.
Okay.
Like, what is your faith base? Because you mentioned that earlier previously.
Right.
You as a person, you as your faith base, and how do you feel naturally, how you should handle people in general. That ties it hand in hand. Your religion along with your profession, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So Christian background in general, yes. I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home.
Okay.
And like any young person, you eventually have to decide, is this for me? Or is this just my parents' tradition and it feels comfortable because it's all I know? Or do you choose it actively because you've evaluated maybe alternatives and decided this is what I want? And so I went through that phase too, just like I think many people do. And so I stayed with it. I like this religion, you might say, organized. Although I've heard people say, I'm not a member of any organized religion. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. Because it seems like a lot of denominations are having infighting, and the organizational structure is embattled within, and everybody wants to kind of go in a different direction and still claim the name, and it's happening to all kinds of Christian organizations. Mine is no exception. So I grew up in a setting where people are confused by it, because you keep the Sabbath, you must be Jewish, but we're not Jewish. You believe in the teachings of the scriptures and the Bible, but you're accused of being in a cult because of Ellen White. So it's like you want to be known as a Christian, but nobody wants to call you a Christian. So
I think Prince is too, right? Or was.
Say again?
Prince.
Yes. Prince was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home.
Yeah.
And Little Richard died as a Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
I can't remember which church he was a member of. But then larger names currently still have Seventh-day Adventist ties, like Dr. Ben Carson.
Okay.
Is Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
we can just talk about it. We're still friends after After the revelation of differences, we still like each other.
I can tell you a funny story. Was Halloween came to visit. So we was looking at all the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, decorations and paraphernalia and all that stuff that's out there,
So
the swamps.
we driving, and just randomly I looked at Franklin.
I think I remember this.
I said, "Hey man, you think this is some pagan stuff that's going on here?"
I said, "Totally, 100%." Done. There was no discussion. Of course, it's pagan.
Just immediately, he's like, "Totally, without a 100%,
100% pagan.
It's just pagan. And then we just left it there. We just started driving on the road.
Okay.
I'm about to post some decorations myself. I gotta hurry to get them out.
We dressed up the kids.
Yeah, and then they dressed up the kids.
And they had a good time.
Good time.
Uncle Franklin's with them for Halloween.
Yeah, he's with them for Halloween, celebrating the pagan holiday,
I'm putting these things up.
Hold this little skeleton here. Throw this tombstone down.
You like these cobwebs like this?
That's good, don't it?
It's a skull. Death.
Yeah. It's okay to believe whatever you want to believe. You ask me my opinion, I give you my opinion. And, I may feel this way about it. And you say, okay, well, this is my view on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we move on. We just judge people. And, if you're a jerk, you're a jerk. Mm-hmm. And if you're polite, you're polite. I don't think the religion have anything to do with it. So that's one thing. But what I have experienced with folks in this religion thing is the ones that talk about it the most
mm-hmm.
is the ones who don't do anything. Or the ones that have their Bible in the deck of their car
mm-hmm.
when it's sun fading and the pages are all crumbling.
With no underlining, no marks.
Yeah, because you didn't read the Bible. You just put it in the back of your window
just
so people can say,
decoration.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at him. Her. She must be religious. She got that. Jesus love you. And it's faded Bible in the back of the deck.
It's funny you should say that because it triggers a memory of mine from just a few months ago. My Bible was starting to fall apart. This particular Bible I've had since I was a young teenager, I think.
Maybe because you turned the pages in it.
And it was all marked up and it's kind of coming apart. And it was going to fall apart until a friend at church told me he had gotten his Bible rebound. I'm like, who does that anymore? I got my Bible rebound. It's beautiful now. I love it.
Yeah, sentimental values, right?
Well, not only that, it's a tool. And I memorized out of this book. I have underlines. I can see stuff on the page from years and years. So it's much easier for me to use that Bible than a new one. But the man told me, he says, I went to pick it up. And he was very kind. He introduced me to his family and showed me the workshop. And I was surprised for him to tell me, he said, you won't believe. He showed me a stack of Bible covers. He said, you won't believe how many people buy new Bibles and they bring them directly to me and have me cut off the new outside because they want to customize it with a purple royal something and new ribbons with red and green and gold ribbons for marking. He says, but almost nobody brings me a Bible that's been read or marked. He said, I see a lot of Bibles. Yeah. I see a lot of them, but they're for he says, I get the sense that it's for decoration.
That's what it is.
And nobody is actually using these things. They just want them to look a certain way. And so they come to me and I'll gilt the pages and put a couple extra ribbons or whatever and give them the color they want. And then they never read it. And he says, it's so confusing to me.
I mean, I grew up in the Bible Belt. I grew up in Georgia. I would say the church was a fashion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of a social club,
just pastime, like the high school football team.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go to church. You're going to see the football team on Friday. You're going to go to church.
Yeah.
And God bless you or Jesus or this, that. And
kind of cliche.
Yeah. Just like,
stuff.
Shut the hell up.
I think the thing that differs, and you've been a lot of places around the world.
Yeah.
I have. See if you think I could be wrong. My impression is that the Christian churches of America are noticeably different than the families of faith or Christian groups in regions of the world where Christianity is unpopular.
Right.
When there is persecution, to any religious group, it changes the fabric of that faith community, and generally, I think, in a positive way, because it shakes out the people who are there for the social, external glitz of it all, and you're in it because you're committed.
And also you realize there's consequences and repercussions of you.
That's right.
Blasting it out and crusading, and
you weigh the cost.
Yeah, you weigh the cost. And if you truly believe in it and you dedicate it, conviction.
Yeah. And the bar is suddenly raised in a way that you don't attract a lot of fluff to that group of people.
They dedicate it.
They're yeah.
Yeah. That's like me
committed.
That's like me when you already made me angry. I'm committed. you ain't gonna talk me off.
You're gonna talk me off this ledge.
You ain't talking me off this ledge.
I'm down on you.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm good. Even my close friends, they know if I'm already there, they just like, all right, well, let it unfold how it unfolds. Because there's nothing I'm gonna say and do. Can't call his mom. Nothing. Nope. Yeah. I'm in it. You got my full attention, and then that's it.
I think that's a unique part, though, of the American, of the Christian American fabric, that it has never really come under the type of scrutiny, persecution, or hardship that the Christian church did in, say, Middle Ages of Europe.
It's a young country, though.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time for things to go bad.
Yeah,
plenty of time left.
Yeah, it's a young country.
Come off the tracks.
We've been rocking a little bit longer. We'll revisit this again. Next time we'll be in Tennessee, and
the doctor's in.
The doctor's in.
The doctor's in.
Exactly. I'm gonna tag it. You know what? This is the thing about Franklin. Franklin don't have any kind of social media.
I'm kind of dipping into it a little bit. I'll work on it.
Yeah.
I need to step into the 90s.
It's some pagan stuff. You know, that pagan is
wicked, satanic internet.
I mean, Al Gore invented it.
That's right. Al Gore invented the internet in Tennessee. You'd think I'd use it more often.
Anyway, hey guys, I appreciate you listening. I will have Franklin back on again. We will talk about the corrupt medical system. You know what? Listen,
the underbelly.
Oh, you know what?
Send questions. Put stuff in the comments.
Put comments, questions, things you want to know.
What do you think about? What have you seen? What do you know about this?
Exactly. We will dive into one thing. A once upon a time story.
Okay.
And you didn't see my Instagram because you don't have Instagram.
I don't have an Instagram, but
man,
I'm not against it. I just don't have it.
Give us a once upon a time story.
Okay. I'll give you once upon a time.
Let's hear it.
Once upon a time in the spring of 2000.
Okay.
I was in my senior year of medical school. I had taken an elective overseas.
All right.
At a mission hospital in the highlands of Papua New Guinea.
Okay. They eat people over there, by the way.
So I'm getting to that.
That was the first time I got my leg bit off.
This was my second trip. I did 3 months overseas my senior year.
Okay.
And this particular location, I had gotten a lead on it by a good friend of mine who was also my climbing partner. So I went, and he gave me some tips on what to do and not to do. Because it is a very primitive. It's one of the most primitive locations on the planet, I believe. If you want to see, raw humanity,
okay,
PNG is a great place to go.
Okay.
So I went, and much of my first month there was spent doing medical stuff. But when I went back the second time, I thought, I'd really like to kind of rub shoulders with the locals, even though I can't really speak the language. I picked up a little bit of Pidgin English. But when there's 1,000 languages plus, you can't hope to communicate well. But I just wanted to be with these manly men. I mean, they're all ripped. They all have machetes, and they're just an impressive group of people to me.
Okay,
I felt. And so one day I decided I was going to just sit around the fire with these guys to be with them, because I didn't know what they were saying.
Right.
They couldn't speak my language. I couldn't speak theirs. I went outside the front gate of the hospital where a lot of them would congregate, and there was generally a fire in the evening where they would just sit around and socialize. And so and most of them knew me or knew of me.
Right.
Because I was working right there at the hospital, and they had probably brought family members, or they lived in the neighborhood, if you want to call it that, because we were on this mountain I think it was probably about 8,000 feet up from sea level.
Yeah.
Some beautiful mountains in PNG. And so as the night gets cool, they build the fire, and a lot of them were just wearing grass skirts and stuff, and
Right, okay.
incredible painting. And I'm just taking this all in, everybody from different tribes, and some of them are kind of similar because, they're from the same family, and they're intrigued by my differentness.
Right. Okay.
They're checking out my skin, and they can kind of touch the hair, and then it's just this unique, raw human experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Of discovering the other who is so different than you.
Yeah.
And after a little bit of this, my buddy Don had told me, said, you may not want to be out too long after dark, because while outsiders are largely very welcomed and accepted, at times there can be some flare-ups of violence that you don't want to be involved with.
Right.
And so I remembered that, and as it began to get a little bit darker and the fire's getting stoked and the guys are coming a little bit closer to the flame, one of the guys looked at me and he goes, and he's pointing me back to the gate of the hospital. He said, it's time for you to go because it's not going to be safe much longer. And so I just nodded, and I went back into the hospital and told Don about it after I got back to the States. He says, I think you made a wise decision.
Yeah. I mean, they probably was thinking like, you'd be like an exotic dish.
There are still groups there that practice cannibalism.
Oh, they don't get too many, Americans want to sit around and hang out and get cooked.
So what's for dinner?
White meat.
The other white meat.
All right. So anyway, listen, we're gonna end it on that section.
All right.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, and I will have Franklin back on. If you got any questions, anything you did like, drop it in the comments, and we'll go from there. Once again, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Until next time, later.